Uh, Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you here. I am Yichen Sun. This activity is the Artist Talk Online from Ai Hasegawa. And this activity is organized by the Q Project Space in Taipei. And actually, it should be a real artist talk in the physical space, but due to the COVID-19, so we changed the activity online and invite a lot of participants here. And we are very glad to invite artists here to have a talk and invite the participants here to share their experience or their opinions here with us. So in the beginning, I think I introduced this activity briefly to people and audience here. This artist talk is a serious event from Artificial Unit Project. This project invite 4 artists to have their exhibition or their performance in Taipei, and one is Xu Zeyu, and one is Ai Hasegawa, and also Gu Guangyi. He's also online. And another 2 artists from Lab of the Distant Relative, they are also online. Later we can chat together. And this artificial unit project is quite focused on how human to make their social unit in different ways, in the cultural way, in the technology way, and it's also quite focused on how people to remake or to create new social units in the future, especially using the very latest technology. So in this way, we want to open the discussion in the exhibition space or online, the digital space. Okay, so before we invite Ai Hasegawa to give us a talk, maybe I can introduce her to you first. Ai Hasegawa, she's an artist and designer, and she produced many work that put emphasis on the technology and the people, the relationship between technology and people. So she do a lot of work in the field of bio-art, speculative design, or design fiction. She obtained degree of MA in Design Interaction course in Royal College of Art in London. And she also worked as a design fiction group researcher in MIT, the Media Lab. And later she took degree of MS in Media Lab. And nowadays she works as a project researcher in the University of Tokyo since 2017. So it's a really brief introduction of her. But I think later maybe you can introduce yourself more to us. So I will give the time to Ai. And before that, to improve the to improve the quality of the signal. So maybe the participants, you can just turn off your camera and microphone for a while, and later we will come back to the discussion time. 那可能麻烦大家先把麦克风跟那个镜头先关掉，我们让网络顺畅一点。Okay, then please take your time, and I will close my camera and the microphone.
Okay, can you see my slide now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Ai Hasegawa. And then actually I made a few reproduction or like making family projects. So the first one is about, I want to deliver a dolphin, which is trying to be a surrogate mother of the endangered species of dolphin. And then this is coming from my dilemma about having baby or not. And then actually, wow, so many things to think about that. So like, do we need more humans or do we need, well, actually, maybe the child not don't want to born in here, in this world. So actually we can't ask to the kids to, if you wanna be this world, if you're not born in this world before they're gonna delivered. So then anyway, so many struggle and thinking. After that, I was wondering like, okay, what if we could surrogate, if we could make be a surrogate mother for the other species. And then for my cases, actually, I love like marine animals, and also I love eating. So then actually I wondered why don't I deliver an endangered species that human eats? And then especially like mouse dolphin is endangered. So then I just started to research if it's possible, or if it's impossible right now, what could be the hint to the connecting to the future? And then I researched about the dolphin, like how to, it's kind of like, yeah, how it's possible. And then like example, how gene editing technology make us to bring this stuff. And then I kind of presented about like, okay, why don't we design our placenta that connect to human and dolphin? And then this is still a sci-fi project. But I made a movie that girl deliver a baby dolphin in the water, in the pool, and then also giving the milk, and also swim together. So then after that, I made a project which called Impossible Baby. This is when I was, well, it was about 2013. And then that year, many countries were talking about same-sex marriage. And after that, of course, maybe people think about having baby. And then anyway, at the time, actually in Japan, they were talking about, okay, so single woman, you can freeze your egg alone. Before that, we can freeze your own egg, but you have to marry, and also quite often have to be fertilized. And then anyway, so okay, so actually at the time I was back in Japan, and then at the time, actually I was so surprised about this news. Wow, actually I thought I could do that, because in London I could do that before a few years ago. So then why Japan said that now, and then who decided? And this is the bioethics, especially about reproduction ethics kind of board member. And then this is, I found out like, okay, so these guys saying that you can freeze your egg, but I don't really recommend it. So then actually this member is about 12 people, and then actually only one female. And then, wow, this is about our issue, but why we can't decide or we can't talk about that? Well, they were open to the public comment. They were looking for the public comment, but it's only for the 2 weeks, and only 20 people answered. And then, wow, this is the public comment. And then for me, it looks like only like 12 people deciding, and then also, well, plus 20 people comments reflected or not. So then this is not fair. So actually I've heard about iPS cells able to make a baby from same-sex couples. And then also, of course, like a few years after, some news said like, okay, stem cell breakthrough opened door for 2 dad babies in as little as 2 years. So then okay, well, we have to talk about this issue. More than 20 or 30 people. And then so far, actually in the book, yes, actually iPS cells able to make a baby from same-sex couples, but of course, bioethics, it's kind of stand as a wall, and then maybe it's not gonna make it happen for next, I don't know, like 10 or 20 years. And then, but actually there was no reason why not. And then actually what I could think about, well, maybe have to through the human trial. And then of course everyone worry about like the safety stuff. Or maybe just people think like, oh, maybe that is not natural or something, maybe a bit too much. But if it's the main reason, I think that is not good enough reason to stop it. Well, of course, you know, the safety issue have to pass it. But actually after that, if its safety is, you know, make sure, actually like, you know, maybe it's too early or something is not good reason to stop it. And then of course, like, you know, the situation of, you know, the single woman able to freeze their egg is actually, you know, female issue. That means like, you know, half of the population issue. And then still it's quite limited. And then actually the guys, like all the guys deciding about, you know, what we can do. And okay, so what if it's more minority people's issue? Example, like, you know, lesbian couples or gay people's or transsexual people's issue. I guess these needs are easily like ignored. And then so actually I wanted to open this conversation to the public. So then, okay, how to talk to the people? So if I say like only, okay, in the future, we might have the technology that able to make baby from same-sex couples. How do you think about that? Or, okay, so look, there is a married couple in France. And then I got DNA data from them. And then I made a baby data, DNA data from them. And then from that data, I try to, well, guess how they looks. And then know what they like to eat, or what is their characters, and then what is their kind of physical abilities. And then, you know, this kind of family scenes gonna might be exist in the future. And then how do you say that? How do you say about this technology? And then that means like, if you say no, can you tell us actual good reason to you know, these kids are not existing or this family not gonna existing? So then I also try to make a documentary film with the National TV of Japan. And then I made a family photograph, like actually it's a book album to give a couple. So then in the end, one of the women has cried. And also in the same time, I try to make a discussion. Why not? Why it's good? So then actually I have to ask to scientists. So then this guy, actually, he made two mothers mouse. How do you say, like, so he made a mouse born from the two mothers at the 2004. So then at the time, he said this technology cannot use for human being, and also, even if it's possible, we shouldn't use it. And then for a long time, I was wondering why not. And then finally, I could ask him why. And then his answer was actually medicine or medical is to kind of support some organs not working, and then to fix it, and then back to healthy state like situation. And then if you don't have actual organ from the beginning, addition like it's not to help these people, it's not a medicine, that he said. And then in the opposite, and this guy, he was working for the iPS cells laboratory. He was especially working for the bioethics, and he said like as long as it's a result of the accumulation of things that are properly secured, like safety, there is not a lot of discomfort with same-sex people having children. So actually, well, if it's safe, safety things is secure, and also we had a discussion enough, actually, why not to, gay couple having a baby, actually making a baby. So then after that, TV had lots of, like after the TV broadcasting, had lots of comments from Twitters. And actually I chose about 22 comments. And then in the exhibition, I put in the wall. And then also I try to get the comment from the people. And then this is from the Indonesia, in the Yogyakarta. Actually, we got lots of comments. And then interesting, actually, of course, like in Japan, we don't really believe in God so much. So many people don't believe the goddess. And then, so that is why we got a comment about like, we don't have a God, or like, actually there is no God. So that is why we have to decide the future ourselves. So such a comment, actually, like Muslim people get angry about that. Actually, why this is the comment actually. So don't you decide that it's not God. Actually, that is the thing. And then so many comments, and it ends up like this much. And then also this project, like this technology able to make a baby with yourself. Of course, it might be make a lot of problem. And then actually, this is just trial about like I try to make a baby with myself, and then like what's going on, and I just try it with the data, and then well, of course, like the healthy genes gonna be more, and of course, like unhealthy one is also more. And then anyway, so before that, actually, I had a project which called Share the Baby. And then this project is coming from our idea about like, okay, so our generation is more poor than our parents. So we are actually having a more bigger burden to having a baby, and also more responsibilities, and then more, like one person's life is get longer, and then having one person or making one person in this world is having such a responsibility. And then to share this responsibility with many people is maybe more makes sense, I thought at the time. And then, so how is it possible? And at the time, some country tried to do the mitochondrial replacement therapy. And then that is the kind of more than two parents, like genetically more than two parents able to make one baby. And then now, actually, we have CRISPR. So that means we can make a baby with 100 people's gene too. And then, of course, yeah, now some researchers said that we made a baby with CRISPR. And then, actually, I'm wondering, we don't really have to use the kind of gene editing technology. So actually, what if we use this, like, I don't know how to say in English, like IVG, it's called, like, yes, in vitro gene, how to read, gametogenesis. So actually, okay, so two females and then two males, and then making a pairs, and then actually making the IVF, like fertilization in outside the body, and actually break the fertilized egg and then make the ES cells, and then ES cells turn to sperm, and then other pairs make a egg and then fertilizing in the end. So this is like almost like making a grandchild directly. So this looks like more natural than other way. And then this is not really gene editing. So is this kind of bioethically wrong? Anyway, if it's possible that like future kinship gonna be so different and then more complicated, also more variation, and then maybe more fit with more personal needs. And anyway, so what kind of product gonna be released if we have a plural parents? And then so this is a laying court having 5 arms. So now like kids walking outside, holding hands, one hand is holding mother's hand and then holding their father's hand. But actually, if we have 5 parents, maybe there is a wish that holding all parents' hand and walk outside. Or maybe we might have a trouble. So this is a Father's Day photo. And then what if example, like 3 fathers. So this is the Father's Day. So in England, actually, they use like number 1 that badges to give a father. And then, okay, if there's 3 fathers, maybe they might fight for the number 1s. And actually, this is the photo of like Father's Day, but like having argument, and then no one in this room. So actually, to think about this idea more realistically, I try to do the role-playing game. So how to do is like actually write the happy event card for the family, and also problem event card for the family. And then also people able to make the like fake character, like a fake persona. And then also say like, okay, you're mother 1, mother 2, and then father 1, father 2, and then kids 1. And then, okay, let's play the family. And then, okay, pick the family event card. And then, okay, now it's a birthday. Okay, let's play the birthday or something like that. And then we also try to make a schedule and also history and then what if we make some problem, we have to make the legal documents if we need it. So then actually, I also made a video about 3 of my other friends, and then 3 of my friends act as other parents, and then also 2 of my friends act as 2 kids. And then we made a role playing as ourselves. Like actually, we tried to follow our reality in this time. So then actually we play 3 hours for 20 years. And then it was really interesting. So it ends up I almost get out from the family because of the kids one said, oh, I love this mother. And then kids 2 said, oh, I love another mother. And then no one really loves me. So they're like, interesting. So actually, usually like a family is like always one mother and then one father. And then always it's not replaceable. So that is why how you are awful, even like, super, super evil or like awful mother, still kids have to follow them or have to love them. But if they are plural, actually like best father, best mothers, and then these things happens. And then anyway, I also interviewed many people, and then I interviewed to the child psychiatrist, and then also she teaching about how the third person, like a third adult, like a non-family member able to communicate to the kids. So she is kind of teaching about this technique. And then also the same guy from the bioethics. And then I asked to him, like, is it allowed to do that? Is it ethical things to do? So then he said, actually, like, if it's mimicking the natural family or natural parenting, I think it's okay. But actually using like other technologies like editing genes, like that things is not really mimicking the natural reproduction. So that is not really acceptable. So then I also interviewed to the my friend who is raising children in a multi-generation share house. So then in the end, she said, like, actually, like raising the children in the many other adults and couples and families are kind of nice. Of course, like, it's more complex about, making the rules. But actually, the kids having more, lovable adult, and that is more healthy for the kids. And also, I asked to the bioethics, to the researcher of the reproduction technology person. Also, she is running the company, which is the egg freezing and then also storing the thing. So then actually she was saying about like why Japan having one type of family image, and then that is kind of crazy. So then also this issue have to talk well, should be open. So then I also asked to the professor, faculty of law, actually, is it possible, or like how are we gonna make a law in Japan? And then how world gonna accept about this? And then anyway, it was interesting things what he was talking about. Actually, even in like now in Japan, actually we can make 5 parents family legally. Of course, like we have to secret about we made such a baby, but actually adopting the baby, like yes, adopting system is able to make the legal 5 parents. So then in the end, I made a kind of sci-fi short novel. And what kind of technology needs more to running this shared baby family, like plural parenting family. Okay, so far, this is the end of my talk. Oh.
Thank you for sharing this with us. So I think everybody can come up.
Sorry, my English was a little bit shabby, so if you have some questions.
Yeah, I think we can wait for a while. And did you write a novel in Japanese or already published?
Actually, I published into some research magazine.
Oh, okay.
Like a computer-human interaction.
Cool.
Like academic paper, as an academic paper, yes.
Okay, so I think we can just open the time to the participants. If you have any question, or you have any opinions or experience you want to share, you can raise your real hand or use the button in the left side of this platform, because it's really a small one. Oh, I saw that, Vivian. And before you talk, could you briefly introduce yourself? Because too many people here.
Okay. And my name is Vivian, and I'm a lesbian mother, and I rear my 5-year-old girl with my partner for 5 years. And now we are under a legal process to adopt, for my partner to adopt our daughter, because we decided to have this baby together, but during to the legal law in the current law, we can adopt the partner's nature child after the LGBT gay marriage was legalized last year, but we still have some difficulties, because after almost 1 year, we got 2 adoption to be turned down from the local court about lesbian marriage adoption, because of some legal reason that the court they want to see some effort for us to make sure that this adoption is based on the children's best interest. So it's not quite easy for us to be a legal mother in gay marriage. And the meanwhile, in some legal reason, some of the biological mother is not allowed to be the child's legal mother, because our law is not allowed a biological mother to adopt their own child. But there a lot of lesbian couples, they use their partner's egg to produce the embryo and give birth to the baby. So if the law is not allowed to adopt our own baby, then they cannot be the legal mother of the child. So it's quite ironic that the biological mother can be the legal mother at the same time. And I think this is really very unbelievable for our society. And on the other hand, speak of 2 or 3 parents. I have some friends that they built cooperative parenting families before. That was 1 gay couple and 1 lesbian couple. They had the agreement about cooperative parenting and sperm donation agreement. But in the end, because of the daddies puts less and less attention to the child, and the lesbian couples, they got divorced also because of the different from the values and parenting concept. So basically, I think 2 people, in my opinion, 2 people, we can hardly reach compromise to our values. Then how could this be? How could this happen to 4 people? I really very curious about this, because I think our culture, I mean Taiwanese culture, the concept of kinship by blood affects us a lot. That means we care a lot about the blood. So I think maybe it will increase the conflicts or the arguments between 4 peoples about their values or concepts of parenting. So I want to ask Hasegawa-san that do you think the biologically related to the child would increase the argument or conflicts, or increase the burden of the child? If, for example, maybe every parent would want to control the child and the arguments, or the maybe more and more communication or discussion would make the family weaker.
Interesting. So actually, in the role playing, I found out actually the child zeitgeist is really useful. And then actually beforehand, we have to study lots about child, like how to grow the child, or like how kids grown up. So actually, one of my other friend said she is also studying about like children, and then so after that, like it helps a lot to understand why kids doing such a random stuff or something like that. So actually, if we're gonna do this share the baby, we have to study kids things like kids education like beforehand. So like we have to stand everyone's point of view kind of set in the same place. It's like, car driving things, like, before that we study the rules and risks about, and then we also have the exam, and then so then you can drive in the public. So like it's like that, like to be parents, maybe it's better to study beforehand, and then we have to have the kind of knowledge, the shareable knowledge together. And then also other point is like I also felt quite isolated while in the role playing. Like the kids said like, oh, I love other mother, and then oh, I love other mother, and they're like, no kids loves me. And like, wow, that's so sad. Like I'm the one who started this family, but like the kids doesn't love me. And then okay, wow, that's really shocking even in the role playing. And then if it's so, I felt almost like I'd like to run away from the family. So like I just maybe still like I have responsibility. So then, but I can just send money, and then more parents actually, yeah, why not? They can do better. And then so actually it was quite difficult part. So actually yes, I think the family needs some other person to consult the family. So like these days in a kind of Western culture, many couples using the kind of couple consulting, almost like psychiatrist, like therapies. So it's like that, like we need the family kind of therapy sessions or something like that. And then also other point, we also talk in the video actually why we decided to having kind of genetical baby. It's some people said like if it's more parents, more or less your genes inside, so you can't really find yourself in the baby. So like usual parents supposed to be half is yours, your gene is inherited, but actually in this case like a quarter of it. So like how can you find yourself inside? And then this is kind of just an illusion. So then actually in the end we were talking about like, well actually yes, maybe we can adopt a baby from outside, totally not genetical things. But actually because we can say it now, because we bring up one baby. So actually in the beginning, maybe we don't say that. Like, okay, let's adopt one baby with 4 people. Because of we had no kind of incentive or we don't have the responsibility. So actually one of the guys said like, actually put the gene inside to the baby is like a kind of a company, like stock system of the company. So like when you make a company with a pool of people, you put the money inside to the company. So like this case, like you put gene into the baby instead of the money. So like it's kind of showing the responsibility. So like interesting. So but actually after that, after we made the family shape and the system, and then we also made the bond and trust each other, maybe we can adopt a baby from outside, totally not kind of genetical babies too. So I wonder, is it a good answer for your question? Anyway. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
And you want to keep it on?
Oh.
Do you have more question or no?
Yeah, to mention the consulting, consulting. Most of my, some of my gay friends who rear babies, they prefer consulting a lot because I think in our culture, my parents, they are not so pro to gay marriage. So some of the people or some of the elder relatives, they became to our pressure. So yeah, we prefer to have some consulting to solve the discussion and conflicts in our daily life, more than to maybe talk to our parents, talk to our families, or talk to my brothers or sisters. I think, I think I have a idea that maybe although 4 people or 5 people parenting would have a lot of communication or a lot of discussion about all the values, all the concept, all the maybe love or all the emotional feelings, but through this process, maybe child would have more clear concept of relationship and what love is, because basically basically most of us, we have one dad and one mom, and we automatically think that we have to have this kind of relationship, and the relationship should be this kind of relationship. But during this different kind of maybe experience, they will think, or maybe the real essential element of relationship is maybe is communicate to each other, not one by one. Relationship is the most correct type of relationship. So I think the so now I don't think the discussion and communication would weaker the family's structure. I think maybe it would build another kind of structure of family. Yeah. Okay.
I see that Guangyi, you raise your hand, right? So please take the microphone.
Hi, I'm Guangyi. I'm also an artist who work in the field of bioart and speculative design. I'm also from gay community. So what I want to reflect, both of you. So the first thing I want to say is because recently I have been based in the Netherlands, and last year the Netherlands passed a law. It's for a child who can have the maximum of 4 parents. So it's now kind of legal now in a way. So and also according to what you say, so this kind of governmental policy of reproduction differs extremely in every different location and different country, and every country is in a different phase in the timeline. So what I'm curious is like this kind of imagination and speculation. I think show this kind of story to the audience, but the audience from different background, different country might have different thinking. For example, for I guess for Dutch people, they are already dealing with the law of having 4 parents, but in some of the Asian country, we are still struggling very basic like gay marriage, these kind of things. So my question is, the question is more from artist perspective. Like as an artist, when you show your work in different location, do you change the way of showing, or do you select? For example, I want to show this work specifically in a country or a region, or do you create this story based on a specific cultural background? What I want to say this question because last year I did a project. It's called Delay Youth. So it's about sex education in Taiwan, because in Taiwan some of the religious group of Christianity, they want to get the political power to exclude sex education in elementary school and high school, because they think kids should be pure and clean, should not get involved in this kind of education. And so I made a project of this kind of this dystopian world that the government was took over by this religious group, and they use a kind of hormone to delay the puberty of teens, and they only can get the sexual maturation after 18 years old to keep their body very pure during the high school. But for me, this project, I think it's quite weird if I show this in Western world, because I guess for some of the Dutch people, this kind of sex education issue is like their social issue 20 years ago when they were dealing with gay marriage, these kind of things. So yeah, so sometimes I think it's quite an issue as an artist when you show a specific speculative scenario to a certain audience. So it sometimes also provide me a lot of struggling. So I'm curious, maybe you have faced this similar situation like me, or maybe not.
Yeah, so actually, well, Japan is still not able to do the gay marriage. So I think the next 5 years, I guess it's not gonna work. So anyway, and then actually, yes, actually in Italy and in Indonesia, I showed, and then these countries are actually interesting. Like, you know, they are more kind of conservative, and then in Italy, you know, more Catholic, and then also interestingly, they also get angry. Few people get angry about my, like one of the comments said that there is no God, so we have to decide ourselves. and then as in Indonesia. And then actually in Indonesia, I was so scared about that actually in a Muslim country. And then also curator and I were kind of planned what if they, some religious team gonna, came into the show. And then actually if it's so, we should just close our room and then, but still we can put the link and then able to show in the internet. But anyway, in the end, so that is why actually I started the post-it stuff from the Indonesia, because of if Twitter or something, internet brings some kind of angry people. And then, so actually, okay, let's just put the comment into the post-it and then only you can read and write inside the room. And then actually it was working much better than the Twitter anyway. So in the end, actually the maybe best reaction show in Indonesia, that was the best actually. So actually there was only the difference. And then of course I don't really want to go to Pakistan to show my work. I guess it's super, super dangerous in a way. And then also actually in China, actually they banned my project, this project, Impossible Baby. I couldn't show it. So yeah. And then actually I don't really choose a country. And then yeah, only the case maybe some, really, really maybe violence people might be, if it's so, I try to just plan as, maybe just close it or something like that. And then anyway, actually interestingly, such a kind of an okay level of conservative countries kind of invites my work too. I guess because of they like to break the walls, that art should be too, So yeah.
And maybe I can share a little bit the situation in Taipei this time, because we just got the legalization of the same-sex marriage. So in the exhibition space, we saw some memo on the wall. They posted on the wall, but the opinions of them, most of them are positive one. So it's a little bit hard to see the conflict or dilemma between inside the society. Although we got the law already, but I don't believe that we don't have any dilemma inside. So it is the situation in the country like Taiwan.
I see. Well, of course, the who is coming to the gallery or art space, they are pretty much kind of lefty or open mind people. So maybe such a bias is already inside, but still Indonesia had a kind of nice argument, and also it's kind of nice to as a kind of education for kids, in the photo, maybe teenager came into, and then they were trying to say something about that. That was quite interesting. I thought that is quite healthy. So maybe Yogyakarta is kind of one of the high education maybe place in Indonesia. Maybe that is why it's happened. Of course, I shouldn't believe that is the whole country is like that.
Yeah, we still have the limitation from the audience. They come to us things.
Yes. So actually, in the point of TV was really interesting. Not art fan people also watch it, and then actually yes, it was in Japan actually more argument, and then interestingly more guys said scary. Even actually in after showing the Mori Art Museum, many guys who is the art fan guys said oh, it's quite scary, and what? So okay, maybe that is your point of view, and I thought okay, interestingly, art fans in Japan are quite conservative. Yeah. And then also such a gender role is really strong in Japan. Like, guys have to be kind of lead, females and then also lead the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually in the Impossible Baby, actually it's kind of coincidentally, I chose a lesbian couple. Actually, I couldn't find the male gay couples. That is why I chose them. So anyway, in the world, there is no guys. So that is why guys kind of scared out.